Okay, so once again, Assalamualaikum and good afternoon to everyone. This is a lecture session for the topic of memorandum and emails for English for occupational purposes. Now, let's go to memorandum first. Oftentimes, this is the long name for memo. We've seen products, so memo pads, memo this, memo that, write a memo, send a memo. Well, the actual name for memo is actually memorandum, but it has a few syllables. I mean, memo is just 2 syllables. So to be using memos, okay, and people are also used to the word memos, okay, and we talk about memos in workplace situation. Okay, now memos is a simplified version of information that is usually written to be delivered from one department to another within the same organization. Within the same organization. That's the purpose of a memo. And the same message can actually be communicated accurately to many people at the same time. Okay, an example of memos that I use as a lecturer. Okay, let's say on a certain day, I am not available. So I will put up a memo in front of the classroom that says this classroom, this subject at this venue at what time, and also the names of the students that are involved. There will be no class session going on for the day, okay, and then the session will be replaced and all of the information is put up and printed and pasted in front of the door. So what will happen is that from the morning, so maybe I pasted the memo in front of the door on the day before. So from the morning, when our nice abang guide, okay, walk by the class and he has to open the classroom door, he will see the memo and it's like, oh, there is no class going on today. So I do not have to open the door. So number one, that's our guide that will receive the information. Okay, next, it so happened that probably on the day there are students who was absent in the previous class and did not know that I'm not present and did not know that the class is cancelled. Or if there's students who have yet registered, some just come back from GMP, and this is like the first time that they wanted to meet face to face. But it so happened that unfortunately the class was cancelled that day. So they see the information on the memo. And they'll be like, oh, today there's class. So that's students, okay? And then the third one, we probably also have other lecturers who are looking for or searching for the person, okay? And then they just like walk by the classroom. Oh, before this, there wasn't a class before. Okay, so chances are maybe the lecture was a little bit early. So since previous class, there was nobody's using the venue. So that lecturer could actually come into the classroom and sign up earlier. That's the third person who gets the information. Or if let's say there is an accreditation body. So this is a department that will usually round about the classroom. Okay, so they would like walk by and then see if classes is being conducted or not, if there are students attending the class. And then they will verify the number of students who are in the classroom versus the tables and chairs and also the number of people that is available in the class. So they will look around and see, oh, the lecturer is here. Or the lecturer is not here. The students are not here. What is going on? And they'll be like, the classroom is empty. Why? So then the accreditors, they will look at the memo and they say, oh, there is something going on today and the class is not around, but there will be the replacement. So there's a lot of people who will actually receive benefit from just one written memo that you make. It's the point of communication. Okay, so it is communicated accurately to many people at the same time. Okay, and it also takes little time to construct because it is considered to be informal. However, a memo will be considered a formal documentation if there is a signature and stamp. If there is a signature and stamp, it becomes formal. If this is a computer-generated memo, so there isn't a need for a signature, then it's non-formal. Okay, and It also allows the writer to convey detailed or difficult information logically and accurately, and also oftentimes memos look different from one company to another because each of the company will have their own template for memo. My template for memo has students information, classroom information, and also lecturers information. That will be my template. But if it is an engineering company, no students involved, no lecturers involved, and no classes involved, right? So different company will have different set lists of memos to be used, and each of the person whomever who entered a company, they need to learn about the format of the memo from that company and also how to write the memo. There is also a general type of memo, but oftentimes each of the company will have their own letterhead. Letterhead refers to the logo, name of the company, company address, telephone number, and email all together on the top of the paper. That's what we call a letterhead. Complete information of the companies, of the ownership lah. Okay. If you were to notice in your letters of anything that whichever that you receive from MSU, MSU also has a letterhead. Okay, so MSU logo, MSU name, MSU address, phone number, and also email where you can communicate with them, and that's a letterhead. Okay, moving on to the format of memos. Generally, there should be the sender's name and the job title if appropriate. If not, just the sender's name plus receiver's name. It could also be to whom it may concern. That means whomever that is concerned and you see this information, it is relevant to you, then this memo is for you. But if you, let's say you are not my student, you do not belong to the classroom, and then you walk by and then you see the memo, oh, this has nothing to do with me. So you are not the person of concern. So to whom it may concern, followed by the date and also the subject matter. Okay, the subject or the subject matter of will be used not only in memos, also in email and also in business correspondence. Formal letters or informal letters, everything must have a subject matters. And subject matter is a simplified version of what it is all about. I mean, I talk about the venues, the time, the students, etc. But what I truly wanted to deliver is class postponement. Class postponement. That was my title. That is my intention. And oftentimes, for all of this documentation, the subject should be obvious. It should be the most obvious. So it's okay to bold. Usually people will bold or they will use capitalization. Okay. However, it is not considered wrong to use standard case or sentence case and not capital letters. It's not wrong, but it should be tagged with subject. Okay, and we would actually will appreciate more if we could see the subject as obvious as possible. Okay, and it's okay to even make the subject bigger, bold, and sometimes even highlight, just to make it like the most obvious. Okay, and then we get to the content. There is actually no restriction as to how long the memo should be. No restriction. However, from an intended recipient's point of view, it is better if the message is as simple as possible. It's better if it's as simple as possible. However, it is not wrong to write the message in the memo, typically either quite long sometimes, but even the longest memo does not exceed 1 page. It should not exceed 1 page. A memo notice is just 1 page. The longer version of memo, the ones that I've seen quite often nowadays is the memo of closure of a premise, if it needs to be sanitized, if there are cases. I mean, we've seen the memo, or how long will the premise will be closed. So that is also the memo. Okay. And that memo is sent out by the company. It will be read by everyone, the guards, the Grab driver, the restaurant, the clients, even the workers, and everybody, even anyone who like walks by the premises with, oh, this premise is closed, right? So anyone who's seen the memo, and that is for the delivery of information. It is sent out by the company. And if it happens between department to department, only the intended recipient should take note of the memo. Okay, and it's especially useful because memo is simplified. Okay, so let's say in this company we have head of R&D, to Mr. Rajakumar, that's a head of R&D, from Ms. Vega, admin, and talking about installation of air conditioner units. Okay, so in response to your department's request to improve the air conditioning in your department, I am pleased to inform you that work will soon commence to put up 2 new units. However, the technicians are only free to install them next week, 30th of April, between 3 to 4 p.m. So please inform your staff of this, and I apologize for any inconvenience. Okay, so the purpose of this memo is to deliver this message. So Ms. Vega, the admin, said that, okay, we are trying to solve the issues that you have in the R&D department. Okay, so maybe the aircon is not working, so they are going to install it on the same date, 13 April, between 3 to 4 p.m. So make sure that on this date, at this time, the office is open. There is somebody there to greet the technician, and you allow them to come into the department to do the installation. That is what they have to do. Okay, so that is from same companies, department to department. So each of the department are responsible for the information. Well, if we were to simplify, I would say you can just simply put date, time, and then what you need to do. Okay, and this memo is just using initials and no signature. Okay, just an initial of the names. And even for the memo, okay, so please check. This is a more, I would say, constructed version of a memo where the points is written as number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 without signature and without initials. Okay, and it's more towards where we have to please check the following and get back to me by 10 October, 12 noon. It's very instructive, right? Yes, question.
There's no mistake that the memo doesn't have initial, right?
Initial is at the bottom.
Oh,
yes. Signature. Yes, because it's considered to be, because the space for, to, and also from must be filled in. Okay, so we have to Joanne from Jafar to move to new premises in Jalan Melu. So this is an instruction. It's not a request. It's not a negotiation. So do the interior designers know that we should move to the new premises before 12 April, and will they finish their job before that date? Question. So answer this question and get this information. Has the logistics company set the quotation? Have you informed those involved in helping to move the furniture? Will all the computers be able to function? Check with the ITs. And is additional insurance needed for moving to the new premises? Check with our insurers. Okay, so from the look of it, even though this is a memo without any kind of signature, okay, and without initials at the end of it, we can already see that this memo is probably sent by a head of departments or by one of the managers to the staff or to the workers, because they need to clarify all of these things. And Joanne probably will have to make sure that item number 1 is answered, number 2 is answered, 3 is answered, 4 and 5 is also answered, and reply also using a memo. Simple. So each of the item is answered.
Just 6 months.
Yeah. Lama. Renovation usually takes a long time. Yes, especially if the I would say the client request a specific design for the renovation, so it will take some time. Okay, right. So we talk about the purposes of writing memos now. So the first one is to just give information. We just give information written to inform, like the class postponement. Okay, or analytical memo, that is to analyze a problem and give recommendation. Okay, while progress report memos is to give an update on projects that are being carried out. Yes.
Is it the notification that gives some detail?
Maybe you can ask in Zoom because your friends cannot hear you. You don't just ask the question because I answer you, but they don't know what the question is.
Miss, I want to ask, what if the notification macam kita nak bagi tahu info in WhatsApp group, but also have the same detail and orders and like the memorandum? Is it considered memorandum also?
If it's all right. If it were to be sent through WhatsApp communication, it is actually not considered a memo. Even if, unless the memo is, okay, let's talk about the difference between digital memo versus physical memo. Okay, so for physical memo, the memo is printed out and sent to the department. Okay, and while a memo that is sent through by PDF, by PDF through WhatsApp, probably it has the same effect, yes. But what makes a physical memo is still relevant to be used in the present time is confidentiality. If the information that is delivered through the memo printed out and it is direct from one department to another, the information does not get leaked out. But if you were to send it by PDF through WhatsApp, there is always a chance that somebody will share it somewhere, and probably sensitive information about the company. Let's say what is most sensitive, I would say number 2, quotation. The quotation. Okay? So how much are we willing to offer? How much are they willing to offer? If another company get news that, oh, why do you offer to company A 2,000, but for our company you offer 2,500? Any particular reasons why? So, I mean, who's to know that the company that you offer 2,000, before this, they have business transaction with us, and they are the one who gave us the discount. So on the other way around, we give them discount. But company B is our first time client, but it so happened that they get the memo from wherever, and the information get leaks out. Okay, so pros and cons in using a hard copy memo versus digital memo. Not to say that digital memo, the issue is in the security, but the good thing about digitalized era is that cost saving is number 1. It's definitely cost saving. The information could be delivered on the spot. Okay, because you have your social media and also could be made there and then, and it's done. Okay, and also with the pandemic, it actually helps us so that we don't have to literally having to have physical contact from one person to another just to deliver the memo. Okay, and there used to be a job in Malaysia. We call it, I'm not sure, but it's called peon, P-E-O-N. I'm not sure how to pronounce it as well. because the person's job is to work in the office and to deliver memos and letters from one department to another. It's a job that used to exist. I'm not sure if it still exists right now, but probably the job spec or job scope is already, I would say, assimilated into other positions. Not sure. Okay, but that job position used to exist. Okay, I think we could relate it to maybe a runner, like a person who runs to do everything. Okay. Let's get back on track. Okay. To give an update on projects that are being carried out. Next is on a summary of parts of a memo. So this is general, but this one is written in paragraph. It could actually also be simplified into shorter information. So still the heading of memorandum. The word memorandum or memo must be written on top so that we know it's a memo. Okay, to Lorraine, office manager, from Oliver Smith, CIS consultant, the dates and also the subject and the body paragraph. Reference, initials if applicable, attachment if applicable. If not, it could be discarded altogether. But not to say that it should not be there. If it is relevant, then yes. As an example, maybe you wanted to send out a memo with a quotation, then you can have a receipt attachment, or you can have the quotation attachment itself. Or if it is a memo to talk about references, then you can send out pictures or emails, or to choose from which one of the images that we are going to use for or to consult. So basically, only if available you include, but if you do include it, make sure that you mention what is the attachment. If not, we will consider it as, oh, just a memo, no attachment, right? Okay, so this will be it for the parts of a memo. Please come back to the class at 2:45 in a minute. I'm going to end the current session. Thank you for listening.